Alright, I'm back with another Destiny 2 video, and this time we're talking about something that was brought up yesterday in the Exotics trailer. It's not exactly new news per se, but I just realized something in relation to all of this that I kind of wanted to go over here. Okay, so obviously we know the main focus of the Witch Queen is going to be Savathun's Throne World, main new destination, sprawling space, all that. And yet, Mars keeps coming up in relation to this season. This was first glimpsed during the very first Witch Queen trailer, where Ikora has her little True Detective board that is clearly has Mars as the background. And then later on, we started seeing kind of the intro mission, which is Savathun's big crown ship hanging out on Mars somewhere. It does not look like a zone we've been before. It's hovering over one of those Io, the Traveler was here, little touchdown things that we had in Season of Arrivals, and I assume that a good chunk of the first mission will go through there. Now we got some more Mars news yesterday. A few different things. There is confirmation that the crafting hub, is based inside a relic on Mars. The relic looks very much in the style of Darkness Pyramids. That's just kind of the architectural vibe I'm getting from it. And then in that same Exotics trailer, there is a shot of us fighting Scorn in some sort of very much Mars-looking cave with all the red rocks and stuff. Again, not sure if that is part of a story mission. And the kind of overall general sense of things is Mars coming back. There are a few different ways you could view this, and I am leaning toward the idea that Mars is not coming back as a patrol space. I don't think we are seeing the return of Destiny 2 Mars or Destiny 1 Mars. There is nothing. I don't think that's something they would be keeping a secret per se. It just doesn't strike me as something that they would want necessarily under wraps. I do believe that we are just mainly going. It's going to be like a Phobos situation, I think, where it's like a mission that takes place in a certain kind of dedicated spot on Mars, and then it leads into the Throne World, and then we don't go back there unless you're replaying the campaign. And I think the relic is probably going to just be a new kind of social space, like the Helm. It could literally be the Helm for kind of year 5 here if it expands and changes in different ways, although weapon crafting is probably a permanent part of the game, and that is not going to be something that is erased after a year, I would not imagine. But what this, what we're kind of overlooking here is the fact that this is a really big story development in that Mars is now out from under the Darkness Shroud. We remember last year when Beyond Light sunset 4 different planets. So they sunset Io, Titan, Mars, and Mercury. Of course, I'd forget Mercury. And then 2 of those are moons, but you know what I mean. 4 of those, and then Leviathan pieced out. But there was a literal lore explanation for this, where the pyramids came to those areas, they did darknessy things, and then essentially those things vanished, and they became darkness anomalies where that stuff used to be. And I know some people were maybe saying oh, well, it's just that specific area is shrouded, and Mars itself didn't go away. It's just the icy part of Mars where we did the Warmind expansion is under Darkness Shroud, so it makes sense we could go back to a different part of Mars for this expansion without the veil being lifted. Not true. I specifically researched this for this video to confirm that there are multiple confirmations that Mars itself, the whole planet, has been gone this whole time. And what we are seeing revealed here now is that Mars has been restored. I don't know if the darkness were just okay with Mars coming back and they just let it out of its little anomaly cage, or if Savathun did something or we did something. None of this really is explained at all, but let me show you what I'm talking about here. I looked up lore entries containing Mars, and across the last 3 seasons, this is brought up multiple times. So where's this from? I don't know. This is Season of the Hunt, I think. Okay, so there's not much to tell. Mercury, Mars, Io, and Titan are gone. And then for something else, there's a conversation between Hawthorne and Ada. And someone says, so much for that grand plan. The pyramids rolled in, and last I checked, Mars is still missing. Titan, Mercury. Keep going. The Peace Bond lore. this is a Iron Banner thing. The Valis dies with Saladin that snorts loudly and rumbles with appreciative laughter. I have a war room, he says, no more conversational tone. No more boast, no more chest beating. We are tracking the movements of hive ships in the vicinity of the Mars anomaly. So that might actually be setting up Savathun's fleet moving over to the Mars anomaly. Again, they're calling it an anomaly. Then in another one, on the bottomless pit where Mars used to be, fills every starboard porthole. This is Glycon lore, and Europa was cold. Bacillus was no stranger to cold. He'd been stationed on Mars before it disappeared. Again, I think that's Glycon lore, and there might be one or two more, but that's the general gist of the many, many indications that no, it definitely was all of Mars that disappeared. Like, it is a complete void. I think there's another one where it's talking about how Phobos is like orbiting the spot where Mars used to be. So the idea has always been that Mars is just like kind of hidden. It wasn't like blown up or anything. But like this opens up a lot of questions in terms of, okay, if Mars is out of the Darkness Shroud, are all of the other things out of the Darkness Shroud? Is Io? Is Mercury? Is Titan? It is also pointed out to me that Duty Bound and Silicon Aroma, the two weapons that are coming to Nightfalls, were tied to Asher and Sloan lore specifically. The presumed dead, Asher is integrated with the Vex now or something. I don't know, but they're from Io and Titan. So this does say to me that there is a major story development here that is happening, that at least one shrouded planet is now no longer shrouded and has the potential to return. I still do not think a Mars space or Mars content will return with the Witch Queen, and yet I do think it is possible that we could see Destiny 1 or Destiny 2 Mars show up maybe across one of the seasons as something that comes out of the content vault. I don't really know why they would have chosen to make Mars such an essential part of kind of the Witch Queen here. Like, the Witch Queen ship could have gone to any existing planet, could have been on Europa or whatever. So they clearly have some sort of plan for Mars here, and I would be surprised if it only remained as kind of these little bits, like a little social zone or whatever, and they didn't ultimately bring some form of Mars back. With Destiny 1 Mars, there's no like raid or anything tied to Mars like that. There are a couple strikes there from back in the day, Scion flares and things. And there is, in Destiny 2 Mars, there's the story missions that they made into strikes. There is all the stuff with Rasputin and what's the public event? You know what I'm talking about, with the towers and everything. But like it was a pretty good zone. It was certainly better than Mercury, and I think people would be excited to see that return just for more content to come back. There's also ongoing theories that the coming seasons are going to have something to do with Rasputin kind of coming to life again, and there are indications about that. One final thing from the Exotics trailer is that we see glimpses of Guardians in what appears to be Cabal-themed armor. So that says to me, the implication there is that the season that it's attached to Witch Queen may have something to do with Keitel and maybe Callus, I'm not sure, and a storyline there. As we know, the Cabal and Mars are very much linked together in many ways. Again, I would be surprised if Mars just showed up as a patrol zone for that season, and yet, I don't know, the Cabal being the seasonal focus and all this Mars stuff does seem like it could fit together in some form or another. Whether that is like Keitel and Crow are teaming up and doing something. I always thought it was weird they just sent Crow to hang out with Keitel, but I would imagine that they would be kind of a part of the season together. My initial theory was that we were going to help Saint and Mithrax find Osiris, but maybe that's not happening. The Cabal armor does make it pretty clear, I think, that this is going to be a Cabal-related season, but that's just one more thing. So this is pretty big news, that the fact that Mars is officially out of the Shroud as of Witch Queen, and we have to have some sort of like explanation for that. Like, there's got to be some sort of like, oh my god, like Mars has reappeared, blah blah blah, and we don't know what that means for the other zones. But this is a pretty big deal because Bungie did write that into the lore, like specifically. It's not just they sunset these zones and didn't say anything about it. There was a lore, darkness-based reason for it, and now they are undoing that reason, so that is simultaneously also a big deal. I do think this could pave the way for sunset or bolted content to return. I just don't think it's coming with Witch Queen. I think that was something they would be kind of advertising, and it may come later this year or down the road more. We are obviously still waiting for like significant things that Destiny 2 took away to return. I would love to see Leviathan come back, just in general, and new stuff having to do there, but that seems all kind of in the future. And so far, the stuff they've taken out of the vault is generally just sort of Destiny 1 stuff that mostly has not changed all that much from Destiny 1 outside of a few exceptions. So we'll see. I think something is happening with Mars over the course of this year. I just don't think we're going to get some surprise drop of Mars with Witch Queen. That said, everything I predicted lately has been wrong. So if I'm saying that, maybe that's exactly what happens, and it'll be a fun surprise. But anyway, those are my Mars thoughts for now, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.